The Steelers ended the night, capped it off with a huge trade, sending Kevin Dotson to the LA Rams in exchange for a 2024 4th-round pick and a 2025 5th-round pick. They also sent their 2024 5th-rounder and their 2025 6th-rounder to LA. Dotson gets a new home. Not sure what LA's depth chart looks like or whether or not he's going to have an opportunity to start, but I'm almost positive that at bare minimum, this is an upgrade from where he is in Pittsburgh, just because he'll have an opportunity to be possibly that first depth piece, that primary backup to somebody, while in Pittsburgh, he wasn't really viewed as much as Nate Herbig, I guess, or possibly, even Kendrick Green if they needed a center. Heads to LA. Your thoughts on the trade? I mean, less than 24 hours after it happened.
Yeah, this seems, and you were one of the first people I saw to say this. But this seems like a win for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Like you said, at the bare, he couldn't have gone any. There are very few places he could have gone that would have given him less of an opportunity than Pittsburgh. They were, like you said, he was getting kind of buried on the depth chart. I think the Steelers just kind of, seen what they needed to see from him. I think he still can play for someone. It just wasn't going to be in Pittsburgh. The Steelers get to move up a little bit in their draft. Get to move up a little bit in the draft. They, you exchange a 4th and a 5th, or a 4th and a 6th for a 4th and a 5th, basically, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just some pick swaps. Getting anything of value, I felt like, for Kevin Dotson was a win. But yeah, this seems like a good deal for everyone involved. The Steelers get to free up some space along the offensive line. I think this speaks a lot to like the fact that they really like Spencer Anderson, because he's a roster lock now. And then also, the idea that Nate Herbig's injury isn't anything long-term or anything to worry about. So they must feel pretty good about those two things as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a positive sign for the Herbig injury, that was my first thought was, okay, the Steelers must feel pretty good about where he is heading into week 1, which is good. I'm glad that you said Spencer Anderson. Felt like he was a name that was kind of overlooked in this. A lot of people immediately went to Kendrick Green and, is Kendrick Green's stock up now? I think yes, but I'm not. I mean, we're going to get to this, but I'm not totally sure that Kendrick Green's stock is secure yet. Spencer Anderson, I do believe, is a roster lock from here on out. I just think that there's so much versatility there. But another name that I'm going to drop on you, Dylan Cook. I think Dylan Cook might be a name to watch in this 53-man roster now. Had an impressive day against, who was the last game? Atlanta. Had a real impressive preseason finale against Atlanta. Has looked good in practice. Has moved above LaRaven Clark really in almost all team drills over the last 2 weeks or so. I think that he could be an option for the Steelers to keep as their fourth tackle if they believe Anderson could be an interior offensive lineman, and then they keep him behind Herbig. I think that's definitely a possibility for them. And I think that if we're being honest, like, I don't feel bad about that. Like, I think that Spencer Anderson is exactly what you're looking for in that final, interior line piece, a swing guard who could also play center. And then Cook, having him on the roster removes your need for Spencer Anderson to like develop as a tackle. Like, okay, Spencer, you learn the inside. Cook, you just work as that fourth. Yeah, it would be the fourth outside tackle, with Broderick Jones being like that swing, that extra tackle. I think that could work out well. Kendrick Green, I think, is the other name, but I don't know. We're going to get to this in a second, but I'm not positive Kendrick Green's still on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, we might have talked about this. Oh no, I guess we didn't have a. Oh yeah, we had a Friday podcast after the Atlanta. But I think Kendrick Green had a good game against Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
But it's a matter of like, how much can a guy like that rise? How much weight can one game against a bunch of backups, quite honestly, how much weight can that carry for a guy like Kendrick Green? I didn't really feel like much. I feel like if he wasn't on the roster before the game started, then he wasn't going to be on the roster, after that game. I'm still with you. I still don't think he makes the roster. I don't think he, had a good enough camp. The totality of his work just wasn't good enough. Yeah, I think, but I agree with you. I think you feel fine with Spencer Anderson kind of narrowing his focus and going to the inside. And then Dylan Cook is an interesting one. That wasn't a name that had really popped up on my radar, but that would make sense now. It makes sense now that Kendrick Green kind of frees up, or not Kendrick Green, Kevin Dotson kind of clears up some space. But seems like the Steelers going decidedly younger. It feels
Yes.
like along the offensive
Yes.
line, like they believe in the future a little bit more than those guys that they had before.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that the thing here is, with Spencer Anderson especially, is you can only stretch these guys so far.
Yeah.
And you talk to Spencer, and we've talked about this more than once. You don't want to ask a guy to do everything, because then it's hard to do one thing really well.
Yeah.
And to be able to now just have that option for him to just be that interior guy, I think takes a lot of pressure off of him. And maybe they go out and sign an offensive tackle. I don't know. But I think that being able to remove him from the outside and just say, hey, you play guard and center here, I think does a lot of good for the future of him. And just like you said, like it's, you could see that they're building that next level, that Nate Herbig, excuse me, Broderick Jones, Dan Moore, Spencer Anderson, that rotation of guys that they could develop into wherever they end up, even if they're just backups long term, into the next group of, hey, look, we have quality, we have depth. This is our offensive line moving forward.